Okay, so are you feeling maybe a bit buried under all the advice out there about growing a huge email list?
hmm
Get more subscribers. Yeah, maybe you've even dabbled with AI, but the actual sales,
Mm.
well, they just aren't happening.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. It's a really, really common frustration point, I think.
Definitely.
So much energy goes into just the size, right? People forget about, well, how do you actually make money for these people?
Exactly. And that's why we're doing this deep dive today. We've got these sources, this material from someone who's actually, walked the walk, helped creators generate serious results.
Over $15 million in sales, the sources say,
Yeah.
from email. And often, interestingly, not necessarily with these gigantic lists you always hear about.
Right. And what's really striking, I think, from this material is how it kind of pushes back against that standard advice, the whole grow, grow, grow
It
thing.
really does. It suggests a different path, maybe a bit counterintuitive, focusing more on efficiency and actually turning the subscribers you have into buyers.
Yeah. So the promise here isn't just get more names. It's more like a practical roadmap, right?
Yeah.
How to build a newsletter that actually makes money, even if you're starting small.
That's the goal.
So our mission today is basically to unpack the key lessons from these sources, lay out that path so you can stop feeling overwhelmed and start building something, well, profitable.
Okay, let's dive in then. So the absolute biggest thing, maybe the most unexpected lesson right at the start.
Yeah.
Learn how to make money from a small list first,
Yeah.
before you go chasing thousands and thousands of subscribers.
Whoa, okay. That feels backwards, like completely against the grain.
It does, doesn't it? But think about it this way. The sources use this great analogy, the jars analogy.
Right.
Imagine you've got a huge jar, say 20,000 subscribers,
Hmm.
and a small one, maybe 2,000.
Right.
Now, the big list, maybe it's not super efficient. You run a promotion, make $40,000. It sounds good, right?
Hmm.
But that's only $2 per subscriber.
Okay, I see where this is going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the small list, the 2,000 people. Because you focused on efficiency, on really knowing how to sell to them, maybe you run a promotion and make $50,000.
Wow, more money from fewer people.
Yes, that's $25 per subscriber. Huge difference in profitability, right?
Yeah.
And the return on your effort is way higher.
So the metric isn't just list size, it's dollar per subscriber efficiency.
Efficiency, that's what the sources hammer home. It's the key metric. Chasing numbers alone can be a trap. You spend all this time and money getting people who maybe never buy anything.
Right.
But if you focus on monetizing who you have first, you have to learn how to sell effectively. You build that skill, it saves time later, and just gets better results because you know what works.
Okay. That mindset shift makes sense. Focus on profit from the start, not just growth.
So if that's step one, what's the next layer? What do you build on top of that?
Well, naturally, that leads into the core skills you need. The sources call it direct response marketing principle.
Direct response.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and they frame it like learning the absolute basics. In fitness, you got to learn the squat, right?
Hmm.
The fundamental move before you try something complicated like a Turkish getup.
Got it. Laying the foundation properly. So what are these building blocks, these direct response fundamentals?
The sources break it down. Things like really understanding what makes an offer bad versus what makes it a grand slam offer. Something people can't resist.
Yeah, okay. Offer creation.
Knowing how to structure just a basic sales argument, how to write conversationally, using persuasion, yes, but to get people to actually do something.
Mm-hmm.
And crucially, doing deep research on your ideal client. Really deep. So your content connects, it resonates, and selling almost feels natural.
And the sources are pretty specific about how you learn this, right? It's not just about pushing a button on an AI tool.
No, definitely not. They really caution against relying only on AI if you don't get the principles yourself. They recommend actually doing it manually, like deconstructing successful funnels. Yeah, looking at each piece, studying great sales emails, maybe even handwriting them out to really internalize the structure, the flow.
Wow, okay. Old school.
It sounds like, but that deep understanding, that's the core skill. That's what lets you take a stranger and guide them all the way to becoming a happy customer. AI can't replicate that fundamental grasp.
Okay, so mindset shift to efficiency. Learn the direct response basics. How do you actually put this together? What's the system, the funnel structure they recommend?
Yeah, they describe a really simple, effective newsletter funnel. Basically a self-feeding cycle.
Self-feeding, okay.
You start by creating great content.
Yeah.
Stuff that grabs attention.
Right.
That content points people towards a landing page. On that page, you offer a really valuable lead magnet, a specific tool, a resource, something useful.
So they opt in for the free thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then they get a welcome sequence of emails. And after that, you just keep sending regular emails.
How regular is regular?
The sources actually suggest daily, especially when you're starting out.
Daily? Wow. Why so often?
Faster data. You learn really quickly what people open, what they click on, what they reply to. And here's the cool part, the self-feeding bit.
Yeah.
The data you get from those daily emails, what works, what resonates, tells you what kind of content to create more of.
Ah, so the engagement informs the content.
Precisely. And that successful content then naturally attracts more of the right people into your funnel. They get the lead magnet, the welcome sequence, and the whole cycle just keeps going, feeding itself.
That's elegant. It's a continuous loop. But okay, starting out, how do you even know what content to create or what lead magnet makes sense? Where does that planning begin?
Good question. But the sources say, work backward.
Backwards.
Yeah, don't just brainstorm random ideas first. Start with the most basic question. Who do you really want to serve? Like, who is your absolute ideal client? Picture them.
Okay, define the person first. Step 1.
Right. Step 2. What's a big problem you can solve for that specific person? That problem, that solution, that becomes your offer.
Client, then problem offer.
Exactly. And then, only then, do you figure out what you're going to talk about in your emails. And typically, the sources suggest those topics should revolve around the problems your offer solves
Makes sense.
and tackling the common reasons people might hesitate or object to solving that problem or buying your thing.
So, like, addressing objections proactively in your emails.
Totally. The sources even mention keeping like a cheat sheet of the top objections handy so you can weave answers into your content regularly.
Smart.
Yeah, this whole backwards approach gives you a really solid structure. Everything's tied back to your audience and your offer, so your content always feels relevant and purposeful.
Let's circle back to lead magnets for a second. You said valuable, linked to the offer. How do you make sure it actually helps move someone towards buying?
Yeah, the key thing is a good lead magnet solves one specific problem for your ideal client. And ideally, solving that little problem gets them thinking about the bigger solution you offer.
Okay, so it's a stepping stone.
Exactly. And the connection between, say, the blog post or ad that brings them there
Yeah.
and the landing page itself, that needs to be super smooth,
Yeah.
like a baton pass in a relay. Any awkwardness, people just drop off.
Just keep the landing page simple.
Definitely. Big benefit headline, maybe 3 clear bullet points about what they get. A button. Less is more, usually.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and a practical tip they mention. Use an opt-in checkbox on the form.
A checkbox. What?
Helps with list hygiene, filters out bots, make sure people actually want to be added. Just a small thing, but useful.
Good tip. Okay, but before I build this amazing lead magnet and promote it everywhere, how do I know if it's actually something people want? Avoid wasting effort.
Ah, yes. Validation. This is smart. Test the idea before you go all out.
Test it how?
With the audience you already have, your existing email list.
Mm-hmm.
The sources give this example, like someone wasn't sure whether to create a hiring guide or a recurring revenue guide.
Yep.
So they just mentioned both in an email to their list and asked which one people were more interested in. Or just track clicks if they link somewhere. Simple test.
And the one that gets more response.
That's probably the winner. If your current audience likes it, chances are good that new, similar people will too when you promote it more widely.
Validate first.
Okay, validate with the existing list. Smart. And the actual content of the lead magnet. How do you structure that to, nudge people towards the sale?
Right. So a lead magnet that's designed to sell often starts by tackling potential objections head on.
Addresses the doubts first.
Interesting.
Yeah, get those out of the way. Then deliver the core value, maybe 3 key pieces of content that really answer the burning question the lead magnet promised to solve.
Uh-huh.
Weave in proof throughout testimonials, snippets, case studies to build belief. And then end with a gentle nudge, a soft call to action. Not necessarily buy now, but maybe here's the next step if you want more help.
Got it. And they mentioned a formula for the title.
Yeah, something simple like specific number plus burning question. Like 7 steps to solve X problem. Makes it super clear what it does. The whole point is viewing the lead magnet as part of the sales journey, not just a random freebie. Validating it saves you a ton of wasted time.
That really changes how you think about freebies. Okay, so much of this relies on people actually trusting you. How do you build that trust through email enough for someone to eventually buy?
Trust is everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
The sources talk about building it intentionally, like creating stepping stones to take someone from who is this
Yeah.
to, okay, I trust this person enough to buy.
Stepping stones, I like that.
And they use this framework, the 5 Ps, problem, personality, philosophy, plan, and price.
The 5 Ps. Okay, break those down for me.
First, problem. You absolutely have to show you get their problems deeply, maybe even better than they articulate it themselves.
How do you show that?
The sources talk about understanding their heaven symptoms, what their dream outcome looks like in detail, and their hell symptoms, the specific everyday frustrations and pains, and using mind movies.
Mind movies, like painting a picture with words.
Exactly. Show, don't just tell. So instead of saying you need more patience, maybe use a symptom you found in research, like 11 hours screen time cutting into kids' soccer practice.
Ooh, specific. That hits harder if it's you.
Right, or describing the feeling of 9 missed calls by lunchtime instead of just your business is disorganized. That kind of specific, vivid detail, often found through research, makes your understanding feel real.
Okay, nail the problem, paint the picture. What's P number 2?
Personality. This is huge. Sharing who you are. Your quirks, your flaws, what you love, what you hate, what you believe in.
Why is that so important?
Because in a world of generic content, maybe even AI stuff, you are unique. People connect with real people, flaws and all. It makes you relatable, memorable.
That ties right back to not just outsourcing your voice to AI.
Absolutely. Your personality is your moat.
Okay, third P, philosophy.
Philosophy. Like your core beliefs about things relevant to your audience. Your take on business, on relationships, maybe even on pricing itself. It helps people see if your values align with theirs.
Okay, problem, personality, philosophy. What's next?
Plan. This is where you contrast what they're probably doing now, which isn't working well, with your approach. Your new opportunity, your specific plan or method that offers a better way forward.
Highlighting the difference.
Got it. And the last P.
Price. And this isn't just the dollar amount of your offer, it's also about the cost of staying the same.
The cost of inaction.
Exactly. What are they losing? Time, money, peace of mind, opportunity by not solving this problem, by not taking your path. Highlighting that creates a different kind of urgency. So building trust is about layering all this in. It's human connection, showing you get their world, their specific symptoms. And research, especially talking to people, is key to finding those symptoms.
So leaning into your personality, telling stories, that's a huge part of this trust building. Oh, absolutely critical. The sources really emphasize this. Real connection, driven by your personality, is way more powerful than any slick tactic or magic sequence you might try.
That sense?
Using your own voice, your values, your stories, that's what makes you stand out, especially from generic or AI content.
Okay, but stories, where do they all come from? It sounds like you need a new anecdote every day. That feels exhausting.
Huh, yeah, it can seem that way. But the sources suggest a really smart approach. Interview yourself or interview your past clients.
Interview yourself.
Yeah, ask yourself structured questions about your journey, your challenges, your breakthroughs, or ask clients about theirs. The sources say one good interview can easily give you like 60 pieces of content ideas, snippets, stories, lessons.
60. Wow, okay.
And they suggest using a grid strategy to organize it. You pair a principle or lesson you want to share with a relevant story, and then note the personal characteristics that story reveals about you or the client.
Okay. Principle, story, characteristics.
Yeah. It lets you reuse stories to illustrate different points while still hitting those 5 Ps, showing your philosophy, understanding the problem, etc. They give an example of like a client story about buying drums in midlife crisis being used to teach a lesson on leadership or delegation.
Ah, connecting the story to the lesson.
Exactly. Being authentic, sharing your journey. It's not just fluff. It's a core driver of sales because it builds that relatable human connection.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. Monetize small first, learn direct response, simple funnel, work backwards, strategic lead magnets, build trust with the 5 Ps and personality, use stories. What about the less sexy stuff, the tech side, like deliverability? People seem to avoid that.
Deliverability. Yes, the elephant in the room sometimes. It's basically just making sure your emails actually land in the main inbox, not spam or promotions tabs.
Right. Important, I guess.
Hugely important. The source is compared to basic car maintenance.
Right.
Like you need to know how to change a tire or jumpstart a car, right?
Yeah.
You might not do it every day, but when you need it, you really need it. It's fundamental.
But does it really make that much difference to the bottom line?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. All your amazing content and strategy mean nothing if nobody sees the email. Improving deliverability can drastically boost open rates. The sources give examples, like going from 10% opens to 24%.
Wow. Okay, that's significant.
And more opens mean more clicks, more sales. They use this analogy of your sender reputation being like your Uber rating.
Your Uber rating.
Yeah. Positive actions, people opening, clicking, replying, improve your rating, help you land in the inbox. Negative things, bounces, spam complaints, low engagement, hurt your rating badly.
Okay, that makes it crystal clear. So what are the practical steps? How do you improve this email Uber rating?
Few key things. 1, clean your list regularly. Use a service like Neverbounce to remove dead or risky emails. Sending to bad addresses tanks your reputation.
Okay, clean the list. What else?
2, strategically boost engagement. Send your emails to your most engaged subscribers first. Email providers see this positive activity, and it helps your overall delivery.
Interesting tactic. Send to the best segment first.
Yep. And 3, the more technical bit, but you got to do it. Check your domain stuff, your SPF, DKIM, DMRC records.
Oh, acronyms.
Yeah. Think of them as the technical verification that tells Gmail, Outlook, etc. Yes, this email is really from who it says it's from. Tools like MX Toolbox or Easy to Mark can help you check if they're set up right. And check if you're on any blacklists or if issues with a shared IP address are hurting you.
Okay, so technical but necessary. It's not optional if you want results.
Exactly. It directly impacts your ability to make sales. Non-negotiable.
Right. So besides your own stories and personality, what else builds that crucial credibility, makes people believe you?
Social proof. Gotta have social proof. The sources say it's like having a cool car. You need to actually drive it, show it off, not keep it locked in the garage.
Okay, use your proof. But what if you feel like you're always running out of testimonials? Like you only have a few good ones.
Yeah, common problem. The suggestion is to proactively build your own proof bank.
Proof bank.
Yeah, make it a habit. Collect snippets, not just from formal case studies, but from comments people leave, questions they ask, little wins they share in DMs or calls. Anything that shows people getting value.
So smaller pieces of proof count too.
Absolutely. But the golden rule, the sources emphasize this strongly. Always, always ask for permission before you use anything, no matter how small. Get that explicit okay.
Crucial point. Okay, so you collect this proof. How do you use it best?
Don't just stick it all on one testimonials page. Weave those little snippets directly into your regular emails.
In the daily emails.
Yeah, it makes your points more believable right then and there. And the sources say it actually increases replies too, which, remember, helps your deliverability. So it builds credibility and engagement. Win-win.
That's clever. Okay, this all keeps coming back to really understanding your audience. What do the sources say is the absolute best way to get that deep understanding, like the gold standard?
Yeah, they're really clear on this, the gold standard. Talking to your past customers directly.
Talking to customers, not surveys.
Surveys have their place, but actual conversations. That's where the gold is. These are the people who've actually been through the journey, right?
Yeah.
They know what the problems felt like, what clicked for them, how they talk about the results. They have the real insights.
So better than, say, scraping Reddit or using AI to guess what people want?
According to these sources, yes, significantly better quality. Scraping and AI can give you ideas, sure, but they can have gaps, miss the nuance, maybe even get things wrong. Customer conversations give you the raw, authentic truth. They share this powerful example, a guy named Wes McDowell. He started using insights and exact language from customer interviews in his sales webinar. His conversion rate apparently jumped to 5%.
Yeah.
Just from reflecting their own words back to them.
5% conversion on a webinar? That's huge.
Right. So those interviews, they become assets. With permission, you use their language, their stories, their pain points in your ads, landing pages, sales pages, emails, everywhere. Especially for creators, where authenticity is so key, people are buying you. This direct line to customer understanding is just invaluable for making offers and writing copy that actually connects.
Okay, talking to customers is gold. But it sounds like it generates a lot of insights, maybe a lot of content ideas too. How do you manage all that efficiently? Avoid reinventing the wheel every single day.
This leads perfectly into the idea of smart laziness.
Smart laziness. Okay, I'm intrigued. Sounds better than actual laziness.
Exactly. It's about using data and past successes to save yourself work. The strategy is simple. Create a system, maybe just folders on your computer. Organize them by common themes or objections like time, money, mindset.
Okay, folders for organizing. What goes in them?
Your winners. Emails, social posts, pieces of content that you know worked well, high clicks, high replies, emails that led directly to sales. Save them in the relevant folder.
Got it. Build a swipe file of your own best stuff. Then what?
Then you recycle them. The key tactic is to reuse these proven winners after a decent interval, say 90 to 120 days.
Wait, just send the same email again. Won't people notice? Especially the ones who've been on the list a while.
That's the common fear, but the sources argue pretty strongly against it. Think about your own inbox. People are busy. They see hundreds, maybe thousands of emails in 3 or 4 months.
True. I barely remember emails from last week.
Exactly. They are highly unlikely to remember the exact wording or even the main point of an email from 3 months ago. Recycling proven content is a massive time saver. You know it works. It leads to consistent results without the constant grind of creating something brand new every single time. You're building digital assets that keep working for you.
That feels like a huge permission slip to not kill yourself creating content daily.
Okay, what about those people who seem interested? Maybe they click the sales page link a few times, but they just don't buy. How do you catch those almost sales?
Right, the ones on the fence. That's where automations come in to save the sale.
Automations. Okay. The sources use this analogy. Think of a helpful clerk in a nice suit store. They see you looking at the same rack of jackets a few times. They don't ignore you. They come over and ask if you have questions, right?
Yeah, good service.
Automations are like that helpful clerk. They trigger based on specific behavior that shows high interest, but also hesitation.
So triggered by clicks or paid visits.
Exactly. Things like visiting the sales page multiple times but not buying, or maybe someone books a call but doesn't show up, or maybe they opened an offer email several times. The sources suggest mapping the customer journey backwards. Offer, sales page, welcome sequence, lead magnet to spot these potential drop-off points.
Find the friction points.
Yes, and then set up an automation to send a relevant follow-up right that moment. Maybe it's an email answering common questions if they hit the sales page 3 times. Maybe it's a link to an FAQ document.
So it's timely, relevant help delivered automatically.
Precisely. It nurtures those warm leads, handles common objections proactively, and stops potential sales falling through the cracks just because the timing was off or a question wasn't answered. All without you needing to manually track every single person.
That sounds powerful. Okay, beyond automations, how do you actually start sales conversations more directly with people on your list, but without being, pushy or awkward?
Yeah, that's a delicate balance, isn't it? It goes back to that pyramid idea. Only a tiny fraction of your list is ready to buy right now.
Right. Most aren't.
So a big mistake the sources point out is asking for too much, too soon. Like pushing for a sales call right away. It's like asking someone to Netflix and chill on a first date, they say.
Huh. Okay, bad move. So what's the smoother approach, the virtual coffee date?
Exactly. Use low-stakes, reply-based emails. Instead of always pushing a click or a purchase, just ask a simple question that invites a reply. Make it easy, maybe even anonymous feeling.
Like what kind of question?
Could be a simple yes-no. Are you a solo founder, or do you have a team? Then maybe follow up with, what prompted you to reach out? Or those hand-raiser emails. Hey, I made this new checklist, want it? Reply yes.
Yeah.
Super simple.
Where would you use these reply-based emails?
Lots of places. In the welcome sequence after the lead magnet, making offers to past customers, just sprinkled into your regular emails to get ideas or understand current struggles.
So the goal is just to get them talking.
Pretty much. You get amazing real-time feedback on what people actually want or need. And you start genuine sales conversations naturally, without pressure. You uncover objections privately, build rapport. It gently moves people along the path by building that direct relationship first.
I like that. Feels much more human. Okay, switching gears slightly, promotions. How do you run profitable promos without just slashing prices all the time? Discounts can feel a bit cheap after a while.
Totally agree. And the sources strongly advise against relying only on discounts. It trains people to wait for sales and can devalue your core offer.
So what's the alternative?
Make promotions fun. Use themes. Bundle things together. Get creative.
Themes like Christmas sale, Black Friday.
Those work, but think broader. The sources suggest categories like business milestones, we just hit 1,000 customers.
Yeah.
Sale, personal events, your birthday, maybe a trip you're taking. Or other calendar events to end a financial year, start of summer, even quirky ones.
How do you tie a theme to an offer effectively?
You connect the theme to the reason for the offer and the urgency. The sources give this awesome leap year example.
Leap year, okay.
Yeah, February 29th only happens every 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So they created a bundle around taking a leap. Built-in theme and urgency. Offered a $147 bundle just on that day. It did $9,000.
Wow, from a one-day themed bundle.
Well, so they scaled it. Did a bigger $500 bundle with a similar theme later, generated over $32,000. The point is, promotions don't have to be boring price drops. Add personality, a fun angle, bundle value, get people way more engaged, and often increases the average sale value significantly.
That's a much cooler way to think about promotions. Okay, last big topic, testing. We've touched on it, but the sources talk about dramatic split tests. What's that about? Why dramatic?
It's about testing big, Bold changes, not just tiny tweaks like button colors.
Why big changes? Seems riskier.
It can be, but big changes are what often lead to big results, or at least big learnings, fast. Small tweaks often give tiny, inconclusive results.
Okay, give me an example of a dramatic email test.
The main one they mention is adding a super signature.
Super signature.
Yeah, it's not just your name. It's like a distinct block at the bottom of your regular emails that prominently features a specific call to action, maybe to your main offer, a lead magnet, a webinar. It's a significant change to how you use that email real estate.
Okay, that is a big visual and strategic shift. How do you test something like that properly?
A true A/D split test. Randomly divide your list in half. Group A gets the standard email. Group B gets the email with the super signature. Send it at the same time, then compare the results, opens, clicks, conversions. See what impact the big change had.
Makes sense. Is there a way to figure out what big change to test?
They suggest using that customer journey map again. Left side, their
Yeah.
current problems. Right side, them becoming your happy customer. Where are the big gaps? The major questions they have. A dramatic test, like using that super signature to constantly point to a resource that answers a core question, might bridge one of those gaps. So the takeaway is, don't be afraid to test significant shifts. Sometimes that's what you need to unlock much better performance, rather than just fiddling around the edges.
Wow, okay, that was a lot,
Yeah.
but incredibly practical. So many actionable things from these sources. Let's try and recap the main thread here.
Sounds good.
It really starts with that big mindset shift, right? Forget just chasing huge numbers. Focus first on learning how to make money from the audience you have. Efficiency first.
Exactly. Get profitable small, then grow. Then layer on the fundamentals, those core direct response marketing skills. You have to know how to sell.
Right, and put those skills into a simple, self-feeding funnel. Work backwards from your ideal client and your offer to decide your content and lead magnet strategy.
Make sure that lead magnet actually helps sell, and validate it first. Then focus hard on building trust. Use the 5 Ps. Share your personality. Tell your stories. Be human.
Don't forget the tech stuff. Deliverability is crucial. Make sure people actually see your emails, and constantly collect and use social proof everywhere.
And remember the gold standard for insights. Talk to your actual customers. Nothing beats it. Then be smart. Use smart laziness to recycle your winning content.
Use automation strategically to save those on-the-fence sales. Start low-pressure conversations with reply-based emails. Make your promotions fun with themes and bundles, not just discounts.
And finally, test big. Don't be afraid of dramatic split tests to find those major breakthroughs.
That really feels like a complete roadmap, doesn't it, derived from these sources? It shows how you actually can build a profitable newsletter, even starting small. It's about strategy, connection, and smart work.
Absolutely. It's a very different approach than just get 10,000 subscribers. It's about building a real asset that generates revenue through connection.
So, thinking about all this, maybe the final thought for you listening is this. If the sources are right, if talking to your past customers truly is the gold standard for understanding what works, what conversations are you not having right now?
Yeah.
What insights might be waiting just one conversation away? Insights that could hold the key to your next big breakthrough.
That's definitely something to mull over. Where could those conversations take you?